Hi, and welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and hopefully have a lot more fun. My name is Kai McClendon, and I'll be your host for this podcast. And I'm from Contractor Staffing Source, where we help residential contractors build great teams. My co-host today, CEO and founder of our company, Paul Sanneman. We have a special guest today.
As fast as I do now. That's interesting.
We have a special guest today we have a special guest today from BestResults.ai, and that's Mike Burkesmith, the CEO and founder of the company. He's going to tell us about the AI empowerment method that he has trademarked. Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company and what you do?
Well, we are fortunate. We get to work with entrepreneurs in small and medium businesses, mostly, including a lot of contracting and construction groups. And we just enjoy helping them deploy AI so they get results quickly. And they get results that are 2x, 10x, sometimes 100x in terms of efficiency and quality.
That's pretty exciting. Now, I was having a debate with my wife last night, and maybe you can help me with this. I said, AI has passed the thing where you can't tell it's AI anymore. I said, if AI is done right and it's answering questions and you're getting a CSR or whatever that's AI, you can't tell it's AI. She goes, I can always tell. I absolutely know if it's AI or not. Can you tell or not these days?
You know, it's getting to the point where it is very difficult, particularly if it is, say, a telephone, and clearly if it's email, and often if it's even now video avatars. And so that depends on the quality of the source. But the good news about this is that Best Results is about getting results. And so we're focusing on things that contractors like, including automating responding to RFIs, RFQs, and RFPs. AI can read hundreds of pages, tons of blueprints, pull your takeoffs, sync to your budgets, create automated purchase orders. It can do all that stuff, and it gets it done right. And we can build in the quality assurance features that make sure it gets done right. We even have contractors doing the online applications for permits all the way through and keeping those files organized and documented. So it's a lot of fun. We're seeing them work in all parts of the company too. Organizationally, they're building training courses to speed up how fast people come up to speed. And they're helping them learn their software tools by having AI build these little micro courses that help people use the software better in the office. And we're helping connect all the different platforms, whether it's your estimating platform, your accounting system. If you run an ERP, it can connect all of it. So the contractors are enjoying the value they're getting from it. Typically, they're not sending stuff to their customers that the customers will recognize as having been generated by AI. And that's kind of cool because you want it to have your tone. So we can actually teach AI your voice and emphasize your values and even your mission. So when you talk about your mission and values, we can teach AI how to fold that in to how it shares your voice. So it's an exciting time.
So here's one of the things that, I have drugged contractors through technology for, I have to admit it, 50 years. I'm an old guy, right? I started with pagers, right? Way back when, right? When contractors used pagers.
Me too.
And then I had to convince them to use a cell phone. They went, a cell phone will disturb my peace of mind in the truck. I remember that excuse. And then we went through email, which was a fad. And then we went through websites. I don't need a website. Everybody knows who I am. And then we went through project management software. I don't need to use, 𝗀𝗏𝗏. I've got enough spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets to make it all work. This last one is AI, which is bigger than all of those put together. But the question is, contractors are Luddites when it comes to technology. They just don't love it. What can I? Now, you were a contractor, right, Kai?
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience of being drugged through technology.
It's a fear thing. We fear the unknown and we fear obsolescence. It's like, where are we headed with this? So I think that a lot of contractors just don't understand the unknown. We're simple people. And so how would you best make people, like if you're approaching a new let's say I'm a contractor, I'm a plumber, and I've got 5 guys, I'm worth 1.5 mil, and you come into my company and you're like, hey, I've got the answer for your company. You're losing here, you're losing there, you're losing there. We're going to make it simpler. We're going to get you on board with AI. And I'm immediately red flag. Oh no, AI, I'm scared. Right? How do you reassure me? What do you say to that person?
I think the place to begin is to listen. It's like any change management that we do in any company is to be empathetic first and then find out what the issues are and then give them examples of winning. I think in a contractor's mind, they kind of have that Missouri show me state thing going on, like prove it. And right. Let's prove it. Because if I can instantly develop a project plan, because I've already built an AI agent that can do that from any scope of work for me, I'm going to pretty much light up whenever that comes around. The second thing is just 5 weeks ago, we started doing a workshop series to train up everybody in a commercial construction firm down in Southern California. And he's already lit up. He says, I had this RFP due. We misgauged the date. We were going to miss the deadline. And then I met you. And you showed us how to automate the RFP analysis process and how to clarify scope of work, and then how to have it tap into our historical pricing and takeoff techniques and apply those to the current RFP. Well, we got the RFP done in 24 hours and we made the deadline. And it's proof that matters, I think. I don't think we can talk about the technology or any of that.
Well, I think another thing, I'm going to call it just plain prejudice, right? I mean, you said they fear change and they go look at, I've watched enough movies on, I'm just kidding, right? I watched Terminator, big one, right? And they have this prejudice against AI. I watched The Matrix, blah, blah, blah. And how do you overcome their prejudgment of AI is not a good thing? We're all going to be doomed. I mean, I know that's out there. And contractors sometimes have that, I'm afraid, I just don't want to mess with it. It's not good. It's going to screw everything up. How do you deal with that fear?
One of the things I've always been an advocate of is what is referred to as not borrowing trouble from the future. Don't borrow trouble from the future because we're not in control of it. There are indicators, but let me give you an example. One of the big fears people have is people won't have jobs anymore. Well, did you realize that all the announcements we read in the media and the newspapers, almost all of them are coming from publicly held giant corporations who are laying off vast numbers of programmers, HR people, and service providers? Listen, in small, medium business, less than 5% of companies who deploy AI lay off anybody. Let me say it again. Small, medium businesses, 95% of them who deploy AI keep everybody. Why? They just realized they can do things faster, better, higher throughput, bigger capacity, and that's where small, medium businesses go. They don't go to how can we cut to the quick. They go to how can we expand this baby? Well, right?
In a very practical sense, I'm going to say, let's say a bunch of programmers get laid off from a big company, but the company has to build a data center, which takes a whole bunch of contractors, right? I mean, if you look at the data center that's being built in Phoenix, it's like $10 billion. It's insane,
yes,
right? And so,
yes. And by the way, my grandfather literally was a blacksmith in Cherokee County, North Carolina. He bought something called an automobile in the second decade of the 1900s. He learned how to drive it. There weren't many roads, but he put his family in the back and drove to Washington State. That's why I'm from Washington. And his brother, the buggy whip manufacturer, just like my grandfather, had to learn new things. My grandfather said, when When drill machines came out, he learned to be a driller. When lathes came out, he learned to be a lathe operator. When welding happened, he learned to be a welder. He did all those things throughout his life. He even taught me to do metal fabrication and loved it. And so what's the point? Human beings are designed for innovation. I believe it. I mean, you look at every revolution in history, from the agricultural to the industrial to the technological revolutions, people had to change. Now, this is a big one for knowledge workers, the big change. But guess what's going to happen? Innovators, entrepreneurs, they're going to figure out a new way to bring value, to have a net higher demand for new services. And that demand is going to require not just tech, it's going to require people. And that's exciting to me. Now, the people who are going to thrive are the early adopters, and the people who will subsequently thrive will be the innovators.
Well, I always say even private equity is going to buy your company pretty out. But private equity is not, they're smart. There's billions, right? They're moving all their money from things that are information for pay, like doctors and attorneys, and where I can just do it, and programmers, and they're putting it all into construction because they know construction is solid. So to me, a contractor is in the perfect position because they're not going to be replaced by AI. AI is not going to build a house. It'll design the house, but it won't build it. It will, it can't do the plumbing. So if you look at the AI revolution, it's a boom for construction. I just wish they could see it.
It totally is. Paul, you're so right. And Kai has seen it too. When you do construction better, your reputation goes up and up. The phone starts ringing, the emails come in. And even if they're not coming in as fast as you want, AI can help you get on all the bulletin boards, get access to all the RFPs, figure out where all the opportunities are, screen all of them for you based on your scoring grid, and then do the communications for you to get the ball rolling on your lead generation and your conversion into projects. And so not only will there be a benefit on the back end, operationally, project management, all of that stuff, updates to expenses every week, automation of this, that, and the other thing. What's going to happen is that marriage of the hands-on with the smarts will carry the day. And that's why they're investing in construction, because it's a fabulous, and you're right, by the way, Paul, professional services will be completely reinvented in the next few years. Completely. Lawyers, marketing agencies, even engineering firms.
Well, your doctor is going to be on your phone, right? And your teacher. I mean, it's crazy, right? Education.
Right.
Now, I have a very practical, yesterday I talked to a client. It was funny. We're trying to recruit construction workers. I don't know, it was in Albuquerque or someplace. And he goes, I can't find any because they're all out building this damn data center. And it sucked all of the contractors out of Albuquerque, and they're paying them a ton of money to build this data center, and I can't find any. I think that's sort of a classic of how it's working, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And we're going to see migrations. We really are. Some of these mega projects are going to move families, right?
Wow.
And that's okay. That's always happened in this country.
Right.
It's okay as long as you can get over some of the being stuck symptoms that we sometimes have. And is it worth it? I think the question for people in the construction and contracting space is, what would it be like if I could research every project, grab every expert I needed for every discipline in this industry in seconds at no cost? And that's what's happening.
And what's happening, and it's interesting, is because they always complain about the architect takes forever, the engineer takes forever, and all of the pre-construction is what takes all. Once they get the final set of plans and it works, they can build the thing. But the entitlement process, all that stuff, which can be all done by AI, it's going to make construction a lot easier. But they need to embrace it and not fight it.
It's amazing that you bring that up. I was just engaged by a construction group that does multifamily to help them collapse their soft cycle time. The pre-con cycle, everything from, demoing a piece of dirt to the entitlements to everything that's required to get ready to break ground. Well, every day People in construction know this intuitively, but they may not measure it. Every day you delay on breaking ground costs you big money.
Absolutely.
And so people often engage me, and I help them with AI to do this, to collapse that soft cycle time so they don't have capital tied up eating their lunch, right? In terms of that, then what they can do is if they build faster, then they can build more frequently during the year, so their velocity goes up, so their revenue goes up. Because they're already operating above break even, their bottom line rapidly goes up when you expand capacity.
What I see happening is, if I've worked with a lot of contractors, and their biggest complaint is from inception till they can actually, dig the hole, right? Because there's the architect, there's a county, there's a city. I mean, in California, it can take 2 years, literally, between the time you say, let's build this house, and actually somebody can put a shovel in the ground. It's insane.
It's not right. And it doesn't have to be as hard as it used to be, because AI does take great instruction on how to go into the compliance space with jurisdictions and go to their websites, very rapidly learns how to make the applications, how to follow up. Then it helps your team respond to any checklists that the county or city may send back to you based upon your proposal. It really speeds that up. And so that's part of the soft cycle time, right? It could even help you because the better you are at interpreting the requirements of that build, the better you're going to get from the architect and the engineer what you need. And so part of that accelerated refinement and crystal clarity plus accuracy, consistent accuracy, before you hand it off to the architect and engineer or city or county, speeds things up. So I think we're really onto something for contractors and construction people, if they're willing to give it a go. And one of the nice things go ahead, Paul.
I would say AI, if you look at it right, could be the biggest boom for construction in history, if they'll just see it that way.
Yes.
Agreed.
I agree, guys. What's that?
I have one more question I really want to bring up. We're just talking about bottom line. You can bring up the bottom line, and that's what a lot of people that are maybe watching this, the contractors watching this, is what is the bottom line? What is the ROI for your service, and what does it cost?
Oh, let me give you 2 parts to the answer. First, we offer free AI readiness assessments. It doesn't cost anything for us to have you answer 30 questions and do a half-hour conversation with you and find out, could you get ready for this? No cost. Second, we just charge for advising on where to prioritize. What could you do with AI first, second, third through fifth to get the biggest bang for the buck with the lowest amount of effort, right? That's what we all want. And then third, we've got to get your people skilled up. We got to get them trained up, because you don't just want to be dependent on some consultant, right? You want to get your people rapidly up to speed. So we do this 10-week thing, 1 hour a week for 10 weeks, and everybody goes from a novice to college level. In fact, those are the words that a contracting firm out of the Southeast used in their retrospective at the 10th out of 10 weeks in a row of workshops. She said, I feel like I've gone from grade school to college in AI in 10 weeks. And that's by the way we designed that hands-on, work on your work, interactive, real work approach. That's what gets people up to speed, not talking about it, not case studies, not academic, none of that.
So Mike, what does this cost? Let's say I'm a remodeling contractor. I do pick a number, $4 million a year. I've got 5-10 employees. I've got my own project managers. I'm using job trade software. I got it going. All my subs I sub out plumbing, electrical. I'm the average contractor. I'm in Kansas City. Pick a place, right? How and what is it going to cost me to get AI integrated in my business?
I think you can do it for about $10,000 to $15,000. It's ridiculously low, because the amount of time we're finding saved by your people who use, who are knowledge workers, we're finding between 5 hours and 20 hours a week per person that can be repurposed for more high value work. And this is exciting for a contractor in the $1 million to $4 to $5 million range. And they only have so many people in the back office and the front office, right? And out in the field doing community relations and marketing and sales. And so, throwing that kind of small dollar amount at something that is truly revolutionary, I think, is a fabulous ROI. And that's why I'm so hot on this. I've run tech companies where we would charge millions of dollars to deploy technology solutions, literally. And this is the most efficient thing I've ever seen in terms of gains.
So the ROI is in the 10s or 20s. It's huge, right?
It's massive. In fact, we guarantee it. If you don't double what you spend within 10 weeks, we'll keep training you until you do.
Well, it sounds like it's exponential.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, sir, when you actually go after the fact and you start calculating it, it is. You're talking 10x, and in some workflows, the workflows are collapsed 100x in terms of elapsed time to get that work done. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true.
It sounds like it's too good to be true, but it probably is. So if we want to get a hold of you, Mike, how do they do it?
Oh, I made BestResults.ai the easiest thing to remember because everybody wants best results. So it's just BestResults.ai. And then my email is mike@bestresults.ai. Super easy. And all you have to do is reach out and I can provide you with access to the assessments and the consulting and a prioritized game plan.
Okay, so I would say if you're listening to this, it's sort of like if you are not doing it, you're just not, I use the example, your competition is using a backhoe and you're using a shovel. There's no contest. You're going to lose. And AI is the new backhoe compared to a shovel, except it's even more exponential. Because processing information is what's slowing all contractors down, in my opinion. And that's what you do. So, Mike, I really appreciate your time. This has been incredibly valuable.
Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you for serving the industry. Thank you for what I have heard from you about extraordinary retention rates amongst employees. I know how incredibly valuable that is and how you guys help people make that come to life. Yeah. So thank you for what you're doing.
It's funny, we sort of use AI to do that, but that's all the story. Thanks a lot. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Bye. Great to see you.